Sign a midfielder and a striker, Chelsea, please. I'd like Erling Haaland, but I'd take Danny Ings. Oh god. Yo, what's going on, friends? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you lot are all doing well, dear friends. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I see what's being said around the Chelsea, giving you my opinion, but more importantly, of course, asking for yours. Chelsea are making moves, they're doing lots of business, outs and potentially ins too, of course. Today we'll be talking about Callum Gallagher going across London to a very good loan to play with his academy buddy Mark Guehi at Crystal Palace. I also want to talk about Zouma and Jules Koundé, as there has been an update in The Athletic. I'll be reading a couple of extracts from there. It's going to be fun. Get comfortable, strap yourselves in, do consider subscribing if you want to, friends. And a little bit of promo, a shout out I suppose. Do go follow my Instagram, guys. I'm very active on my Instagram, and a couple of people DM'd me recently asking if I'm on Instagram, and yes, I am, at Football Yannick. So do go give me a follow on the gram and watch what it's like behind the scenes in my personal life for a laugh. Alright then, let's get into the video and let's talk about Callum Gallagher. Cool, so Chelsea's exciting midfielder looks like a very positive number 10, although oddly played deeper in the friendly against Bournemouth, actually almost as a lone 6 at times, where it did look like he struggled and conceded possession a couple of times, but a very tenacious, combative and talented and skillful and technical midfielder that a lot of people have high hopes for with Callum Gallagher. He likes getting stuck in, he's good with his feet, and he's got fantastic hair. What more would you want from a footballer? It looks like he's off to Crystal Palace, which could be a positive loan. Chelsea, of course, have a good relationship with Crystal Palace, recently loaning them Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Michy Batshuayi. So yeah, there's a relationship there already. Of course, we've just sold them Mark Guehi for around £20 million, and now we're loaning them Callum Gallagher. And in my personal opinion, I think it's good to maintain and cultivate this relationship with Crystal Palace, where we can make sales to them or we can loan them players. It's a good thing. I'll be citing an article from The Guardian to let you know a little bit more information on this before we talk about Koundé and Zouma. Let's jump in. Chelsea's Callum Gallagher is set to sign for Crystal Palace on a season-long loan after turning down interest from Leeds and Newcastle. It's interesting off the bat that he's turned down Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds, where you think maybe that would have been a really good footballing side for Callum Gallagher. Maybe he prefers to stay in London. The England under-21 midfielder is yet to make a senior appearance for Chelsea and wants to continue his developments after spending last season on loan at West Brom. Palace almost signed the 21-year-old last year, but borrowed Michy Batshuayi from Chelsea instead, and have continued to track the youngster's progress. They have been rebuilding their team from appointing Patrick Vieira as their manager, and hope that Gallagher, who has also had loans at Swansea and Charlton, will give more energy and quality in the midfield. Yeah, I mean, you have to assume he's going to do that. He's a pokey young player. He's all over the gaff, running around. Like I said, very tenacious. So you'd imagine it'd offer a lot to Vieira's midfield. Palace are going to be exciting to watch next season. Maybe. Palace want to lower the age of their squad, having allowed experienced players such as Patrick Van Aanholt, Gary Cahill, and Andros Townsend to leave as they sought to back Vieira in the market. They have strengthened their defence by signing Mark Guehi from Chelsea in a deal that could rise to £20 million and buying Joachim Andersen from Lyon. They have also signed the 19-year-old winger Michael Olise from Reading and a new goalkeeper, Remy Matthews. Yeah man, so seemingly Crystal Palace making moves. I'm really intrigued to see how well Patrick Vieira does at Palace. Hopefully for him he does quite well, and that could be an exciting new project there, especially after having a very pragmatic defensive situation with Roy Hodgson. Now they've got a younger team, hopefully play more expansive football. It's certainly a risk. It could be a Frank de Boer situation all over again, but I don't think that will happen with Vieira. Anyway, I'll be keeping a keen eye on them. Right, let's move on to the next part of the video and talk about higher profile transfers. Cool, so we are still all eagerly waiting the here we go for Jules Koundé, and apparently there are a few difficulties, but Chelsea seemingly determined to get this signing over the line as quick as possible, and what to do with Zouma. Simon Johnson wrote an article in The Athletic covering these two, a few other defenders, and it's pretty interesting. I'm going to read a couple of extracts out. I won't read the whole thing, and I'll offer you the link to this article down in the description so you guys can go check it out. Let's have a dip in and see what's being said. Chelsea are prepared to do whatever it takes to sign Sevilla centre-back Jules Koundé this summer. Reports earlier this week suggested Chelsea have opened up talks with the La Liga club over the France international, and this is understood to be the case, although an agreement is thought to be some way off. Koundé has a release clause worth €80 million, which is £68 million, in his contract, and Chelsea are trying to offer players plus cash as part of the negotiations to lower the fee. They initially proposed left-back Emerson, which was rejected, and have now moved on to Zouma. Koundé's France teammate is more of interest to the La Liga club, but there are still some complications in this regard. The 26-year-old Zouma is settled in London and is now the subject of interest from West Ham United. Ooh la la, the plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think Zouma would be causing trouble, and by all accounts, prior to this report, there were other reports indicating Zouma would generally be open to moving to Sevilla, but I think now West Ham have come into the equation, he's more interested in them. And I've spoken about it in a couple of videos recently. West Ham are a good competitive Europa League team now, while staying in London. His family's in London, kind of would suit him, I guess. However, one source has told The Athletic that Chelsea's pursuit of Koundé is incessant, and expects the deal to be secured. He said, Chelsea want Koundé no matter what. He has been earmarked as the player they have been wanting to buy for the past 2 years. Zouma is the player that is being looked to go the other way, but Chelsea are going to try and find a way to get this done regardless. Yeah, like I said in previous videos, ultimately if Chelsea really do want this deal done, and if we are to believe they are, quote, incessant, then you think it will be done purely on the premise of Chelsea have a lot of money, and they want this player. That really only leads to one natural conclusion, my friends. The Athletic have also revealed in March that Zouma was the centre-back that the club are lining up to leave in this window. Zouma has a lot of value in the market because he's 26 years old and significantly has 2 years left on his contract. Thomas Tuchel increasingly left Zouma out of the first 11 after he took over in January. He got game time when the other centre-halves were injured or needed a rest, but he was an unused substitute for the FA Cup and Champions League finals, and he only made one appearance in Chelsea's European knockout games. I do believe that was against Atletico Madrid though, and I think he played really well, but I get it, he's not in the player profile, the player mould that Thomas Tuchel prefers and likes for his football. I understand that. Zouma, who joined Chelsea from Saint Etienne for £12.5 million back in 2014, has proved himself as an asset in the air and both ends of the pitch. But there's concerns over his ability to play out from the back. West Ham are being linked with a £20 million offer for the Frenchman, but Chelsea believes he's worth considerably more than that, which is why he's being used as part of negotiations with Sevilla for Koundé. Yeah, this is interesting because generally when you part exchange a player, you sort of concede their value a little bit. I think, anyway, that's how it works with everything else in the world. Like, if I was to go and buy a new camera like this super expensive one I'm using now, I could have traded in my old camera to make it cheaper, but I would have got more money should I have sold the camera by itself. Does that make sense? I don't know if that works with football and players, I'm just speculating here, but you'd think maybe, right? An indication of that is Chelsea have looked at the possibility of offering £30 million plus Zouma for Koundé. It will take more funds for Sevilla to accept though, something more in the region of £40 million and Zouma. Ooh. It is also understood that Sevilla are admirers of Christensen, but Chelsea are looking to keep the Denmark international. As The Athletic reported earlier this month, they have opened talks over a contract extension following the 25-year-old's fine form in 2021. Boom, that's good news because Andreas Christensen has been playing very, very well. He does look like the natural successor to Thiago Silva down the middle. And of course, Jules Koundé does look like the natural successor to Azpilicueta on the right-hand side of a back three. Kind of makes sense, really. The article does go on to talk about Koundé's desirability. Manchester City tried to get him before they settled for Ruben Dias. He ended up okay for them, I suppose. Highly regarded player in Europe though, Jules Koundé. A lot of players want him, so despite him not being tall, the most elite clubs are still going in for him. You think he's a very, very good defender. Personally, like I said, I think this is going to get over the line. I think Zouma's probably going to be sold as well, and I think Chelsea are then going to move on pretty swiftly and sternly to midfielders and strikers. And you know Chelsea move quickly once they start moving. When there's quiet in the background, it's not always bad for Chelsea Football Club. It often means there's a lot of stuff being done, as we've learned over the recent years, seemingly. Look guys, what do you think? Let's open up a conversation about it. If anything drops and breaks today, I'll do another video later in the afternoon, but from the desk. Hopefully you guys are getting the vibe by now. Standing presenter format in the morning like this, and if something else drops in the afternoon, I'll report from it from my desk. So, you know, different shows. Maybe I should change the name. Should I make another name for the seated show? Let me know if you have any ideas in the comments section. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Go follow me on the gram. I feel sick for saying that. Enjoy the football. And I'll see you later. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I love me, baby.